It looks like President Trump did some work in the Oval Office, then went to Davos, just overseas, and then came and told everybody off there, lit them all up, then came back here. There's a lot going on. A couple of executive orders signed today. One pardons 23 people. I'll tell you who they are coming up. The other one actually gives us information on 3 major assassinations in our history. Oh, did he not go there? He went virtually, Sam? Is that what happened?
Yeah, so Trump actually did not go to Davos, but he joined virtually.
He said, he virtually said, screw you to everybody in Davos. So
Yes.
he got a lot done today. Which I think is awesome. He declassified all of the files. I mean, everything when it comes to the assassination, the assassinations of JFK, RFK, and MLK. Everything. I don't know when it's going to happen. But, I mean, just like with the pardons, people were out of prison that night. So I'm going to give you the story, the latest that we have, and I just posted a video over this, on this, where you'll see Will Scharf, our friend who we've had on this show many times, handing President Trump the executive orders to sign when it comes to declassifying this and other things. Go and check it out right now on TikTok. It is Joe Pags, Joepags. On Instagram, Joe Talk Show. It's also on X, Joe Talk Show. I'll put it on YouTube later. Let me give you the news story, because this is historic. My entire life, keep in mind, I was born in 66. Kennedy killed in 63. RFK and MLK both killed in 68, so I was 2 or 1.5. My entire life, I've been waiting for this. Sam, you're a conspiracy person. Nothing wrong with that.
Right.
I mean, are you just like on the edge of your seat or what?
I am so excited. I have been waiting for this moment. I mean, since his first presidency, really, for probably like 8 years ago, because he promised then he was going to do it. And then he came out, hey, I can't do it right now. They're not letting me. And now he's done it. I can't wait. I can't wait to read the report.
It's going to be very interesting because now, again, it's not that he couldn't do it, but he was getting advice from people like Mike Pompeo to not release it, that somehow it would harm, American safety and security. Well, now he says, I mean, this is him, again, on borrowed time. He believes he shouldn't be here today because of the assassination attempt against him. But on borrowed time, he says, I'm going to release it, and then he went ahead and did so. Here's the story from the New York Post. Trump orders release of long secret final files on JFK, RFK, MLK assassinations from Stephen Nelson. The New York Post only needs one person to write it, which is awesome. This is out of Washington. President Trump on Thursday, some would call that today, ordered the declassification of and release of long secret files on the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, his brother R.F. Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy, and civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr. Quote, everything will be revealed, Trump 78 said in the Oval Office, as he signed an executive order mandating the disclosure after decades of speculation and conspiracy theories about each of the slayings. So before I just keep on repeating what he said, let me play you the actual video and audio for those listening of Trump doing this.
Please, sir, we have an executive order ordering the declassification of files relating to the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, Senator Robert F. Kennedy, and the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
That's a big one, huh? A lot of people are waiting for this for years, for decades. And everything will be revealed. Okay? Give that to RFK Jr.
Yes, sir.
Now he's holding it up.
Okay?
And if you couldn't hear it, he gave the pen back to Will, and he said, give that to RFK Jr. So the pen that he signed for the executive order, releasing everything on the assassinations of JFK, RFK, and MLK, that executive order is signed. It's done. If you don't know, the President of the United States has the ability to declassify anything he wants. So he's absolutely allowed to do this. I saw some people speculating on my social media that some judge might try to stop it. I don't think a judge can stop an executive order. Now, I'm willing to be wrong on that, but I don't think so. Now, the executive order says start shooting people in the street. Now, obviously, you can't do that. You can't do anything you want. But at the end of the day, this has been a long time coming. Originally, when the investigation was done and the Marshall Report was done, the moratorium was 50 years. And the reason why they said 50 years is because, well, Sam, do you know why they said 50 years?
I don't know why.
Paulo, any idea why they said 50 years?
I'm assuming for whoever was involved would probably be dead by then.
Yes, nailed it. Exactly right. Whoever was involved would probably be dead by then. This is why there would be no re-implication of people, after the investigation was over. So a half a decade or a half a century went by. I mean, if it happened in 1962, in 2012, we should have found out. Didn't happen. We waited another 13 years, and now we're going to get it. Now, Sam, do me a favor, because this is like literally breaking news right before the show. I did the video a little while ago. I mean, this was less than an hour before we did the show. See if anybody releases exactly when we're going to start seeing this stuff. I would love to see that.
Sure.
People are going to be all over this. And he did release some of the stuff. Some of it. When he was in the first term. But again, I think he got really bad advice from some people who we would call his advisors about to do it or not to do it. And he took their advice and probably shouldn't have. And he admits now that he probably shouldn't have. So that's the latest. If you're just jumping in the car, got off of work, President Trump signed an executive order today declassifying all of the information, all of the records on the assassinations of JFK, RFK, and MLK. And we're going to finally find out what goes on. I don't really want to do a lot of speculating. I don't really want to do a whole lot of phone calls on this. Sam, if anybody's got a phone call where they want to say this should not be done, maybe. But this, again, is very, very fresh. Breaking news just happened, and I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to hear exactly what was in there. And maybe we'll get a historian on and talk about, whether this lines up with what we thought. Roger Stone says LBJ took out JFK. Who knows? Sam, call Roger Stone. Let's get him on tomorrow or the next day.
Sure.
He's been all over this. And he's been unafraid to say he thinks LBJ took out JFK. Now, Kash Patel, I saw him recently on a podcast. I don't know whose podcast. It might have been Glenn Beck, who does a great job, obviously. And Kash Patel said, I can't say, but it's probably not what you think. Well, Kash, you can't say that. I mean, what does that mean, Sam?
He's teasing. Cash is teasing.
Big time broadcast tease, I guess. So your thoughts about this? I'll take a call or two. I've got a bunch to get to when it comes to President Trump addressing those in Davos. Didn't realize it was virtual. So we'll get into that. I've got a lot of sound bites, a lot of audio, a lot of video, a lot of stuff to get to. We also have Brianna Morello on this show. She interviewed Enrique Tarrio. He is the leader of the Proud Boys, and that's going to be released tomorrow. We get a little bit of insight into that today. Plus, we finally have some pardons of people that were arrested outside of abortion clinics. That happened today as well. Trump is not wasting a second. And I've said this a million times. I said it to him, and I think he kind of agreed. The first time you go in, you're the CEO, you think you can get it all done, and then you realize you've got 5,000 people pulling you 5,000 different ways. He goes in this time, and he clearly has an agenda, knows what he wants to get done, and he's working on getting it done, which I think is awesome. By the way, for those who know that there's a little bit of difference in my voice today, my nose is stuffed up, but I feel better than I did yesterday. Yesterday I was pretty sick, but today we're feeling a whole lot better. So your thoughts, 833-563-7247. 833-JOE-PAGS, 833-JOE-PAGS. Or go to joepags.com. When you go there, scroll down, click on Contact. That'll send an email into the team. Also, while you're there, you can see that video of that audio that I just played for you by clicking on X, click on TikTok, or eventually it'll be up on YouTube. I think that's up there as well. But it's on Instagram, TikTok, and it's also on X. Instagram and X are both Joe Talk Show. TikTok is Joe Pags. Again, 833-JOE-PAGS. Definitely want to hear from you. I think this is a good thing. When we have transparency in government, we know that we have better options on, now that we know the truth, we can now make a decision on who we want in office. Now that we know the truth, we can make a decision on how we want to live our lives. If we don't have the truth and we have a lack of transparency like for the last 4 years, to be honest, we don't really know whether we're coming or going. So again, 833-JOE-PAGS, we'll listen to you. Hi, great to have you. Thanks. I appreciate you stopping by. It's 833-JOE-PAGS, 833-563-7247, or joepags.com. Scroll down, click on Contact. You can send me an email. I'm getting quite a few during the break. And also, listen, you can go to all the social media. X, it's Joe Talk Show. Instagram, Joe Talk Show. On YouTube, it's Joe Talk Show. On TikTok, My largest following, it's 777,000 now, is on TikTok. It's JOEPAGS. The top pinned video on there is this executive order releasing all the documents. Now, Sam, have you got an update on when they're going to do this?
I do have an update. So I had to scour the internet for this, and it turns out that all I had to do was go to the White House website, whitehouse.gov, and it outlines everything that Trump was saying earlier during his signing of this. And it also says Section 2, the declassified and disclosure. It says on the website, within 15 days of the date of this order, the Director of National Intelligence and the Attorney General shall, in coordination with the Assistant of the President for National Security Affairs and the Counsel to the President, present a plan to the President for full and complete release of records relating to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. So within 15 days, and then after that, within 45 days, they will decide and present a plan to the President. So
Boom.
How exciting is that?
I think it's awesome. It's going to happen sooner than later. And heck, I mean, we've waited 65 years, something like that. I mean, that's a big deal. So getting this done is very smart. Very smart. And at the end of the day, what you have is finally transparency. But I wonder, do you think this is a bad move? I don't. I think this is great. We want President Trump to do exactly what he said he would do. Going to be the most transparent administration ever. You see already how the media is trying to get its teeth back, and Trump just looks at him and says, "Don't interrupt me." And that's it. Oh, by the way, did you hear that Acosta? Sam, did you hear this one? Acosta might just leave CNN instead of taking that demotion back to midnight.
Wow. Bye, Felicia.
What's that?
Bye, Felicia.
Bye, Felicia. So yeah, we got another big story today that it doesn't make sense to play the audio or the video, is that the immigration roundups are starting to happen already. There was a big one out of Boston where a Haitian who has been convicted of 17 crimes in this country was arrested, will be deported. And what he's saying while he's in the car is causing some virality. That is the second video that I have on all my social media today. Go and check that out as well. I'm going to Charlie, who is in Knoxville. Charlie, what's going on?
Hi, Joe. How are you?
Living the dream, man. What's happening?
I think that maybe one of the reasons Trump is doing unclassifying this is because he wants us to see what we're dealing with the deep state and maybe how bad it really is, you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, this would take the cloak right off, wouldn't it, Charlie?
Yeah, I mean, like more than what we've already seen with our own eyes, you know?
Right. No, absolutely. Listen, I appreciate the call. I think you're right. Trump the first time was not able to drain the swamp. He'll admit that. He was not able to end the deep state. He was not able to stop people who were so deeply embedded from controlling things from sort of a cabal or a star chamber. Now he's like, I don't care. I've got the pen. I will use the pen. I will do executive orders. I'll do executive actions. We will do everything we have to do to make sure we have absolute transparency. I can't see the downside, I'll be honest with you. I can't. By the way, next hour is going to be Dr. Peter McCullough. Haven't had the doctor on in a while. Brianna's going to be hour 3. Dr. Peter McCullough next hour. We break down, because people always ask me about this, what you need to take. He gives you the exact regimen to take if you got the shots and if you want to make sure you don't have the spike protein left. We're going to get into that with him. Also, H5N1, should we worry about it? Also, gain of function, all that stuff. What do you think? We'll get into all that with Dr. McCullough next hour. Brianna Morello, hour number 3. She had a sit-down interview today with this guy, Enrique Tarrio, who is the leader of the Proud Boys, who, by the way, wasn't there in Washington, D.C. on January 6th of 2021, but he was arrested on sedition, charged, and thrown in prison for 22 years. He now has been pardoned. She interviewed him. We'll talk about that interview coming up. So we've got a lot going on today. Trump jumps on the virtual. I thought he jumped on a plane. He got on the virtual, he got on the internet, and he just told everybody off in Davos. And you've got a situation where those in Davos don't know what to do. He's already pulled out of the WHO. He's pulling out of the stupid Paris Climate Accord. Stupid. He's ending the Green New Scam, as he calls it. I mean, he's not playing around. He's not. And he just looks them right in the face and says, hey, America's back open for business. Why don't you all bring your businesses back here? Which I find to be amazing. So we'll get into all that and then some after the bottom of the hour. But this is historic. Every day that I went to public school in my upbringing, we knew about the deaths of MLK, JFK, RFK, and JFK was Lee Harvey Oswald, and RFK was what? Sirhan, and MLK was the idiot James Earl Ray. That's what we were supposed to believe. Do you believe that's what happened? I'm here to tell you, we're about to find out what really happened. About to tell you that when we get this information, we will now have the knowledge we need to understand the depths. And listen, I don't know if CIA, FBI, NSA, I don't have any idea who was involved. The mafia, Cuba, I have no idea who was involved with anything. I do know this. Once we find out, we will now have a clear picture of who it is that we allow to have so much power in our country. And that's really important. Having that knowledge will be power to where we can now keep them in line. And when Cash gets in, and Pam Bondi gets in, and Tulsi Gabbard gets in as the DNI, at that point, we can start dismantling those tentacles that run so deep. I can't even imagine the depth of the control we're under that we have no idea. We can't even imagine the depth. By the way, people have been saying that the driver of the limousine did something to Kennedy. I saw somebody freeze frame it and close up on it. There's nothing in the guy's hand. So I'm not buying that at all. Plus, we can actually see, the massive wound to his head when it happens. So, I'm not buying that one. 833-JOE-PAGS, 833-JOE-PAGS, 833-563-7247. By the way, after the show, if you want to see some of the videos that we talk about or see some of what we are doing hand gesture-wise or see Sam and see Polo or see me, go to Rumble. You can always get it. We leave it up there on Rumble. We also live stream on Twitch and also on YouTube at this point. Been doing that for a little while. And we want you to be able to go and check that out. Also, our podcast is becoming unbelievably popular. We lost our flagship not long ago. A lot of people going there and still hearing the show there. You can go and find that on any place that you like to get podcasts. Apple Podcast. It can be on Spotify. It can be on Megaphone. It can be just about anywhere you go. iHeart. You can get it anywhere. So go and take in the program that way, too. A lot of people do binge it on the weekends. So, again, that's the breaking news for today. And we're probably not going to do any more as far as phone calls on it. When we come back, I'll have some of what President Trump had to say to the leaders in Davos today on the Joe Pag Show. Stay right here.
This is the Joe Pag Show.
Glad to have you here. We've got more executive orders happening. President Trump pardoned more people today. We'll get into that in a little while. 23 people that were charged because they were peacefully protesting outside of abortion clinics. We're going to get into that in a second. First, though, I want to take you down the list of what he did in Davos. Well, not in Davos. Again, I thought he went. He didn't go. He did it virtually. But he stands up and basically says, America's back. We're not going to take any of your crap. We're tired of the Green News scam. Bank of America, you suck. I mean, Sam basically just went down the list of who sucks.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he definitely did.
He let him have it. So let's get into it. I definitely want your thoughts on this. This is the kind of leader I want for the United States of America. This is the guy I voted for and many of you voted for. Many people would say in the first term, I just want it to be more presidential, which doesn't make any sense. This is what a president does. We're not going to get dumped on by you anymore. And I'm glad he did it.
Merit-based country. And I've made it official, an official policy of the United States, that there are only two genders, male and female. And we will have no men participating in women's sports, and transgender operations, which became the rage, will occur very rarely.
I mean, that's really something, because let's just work out the surgeries part. If somebody's in prison and wants some free surgery, that is elective. That we know, it's elective. You don't have to have it. You don't die if you don't have it. If somebody wants that, the answer should be no. When you get out of prison or get out of whatever facility you're in, you can save your money and get it yourself. So that's the right way to go. And also putting men in women's prisons where they're impregnating the women while they claim to be women themselves, that should stop. Now, I don't know that he can stop the whole men and women sports thing, he can certainly do an executive order, and then he'll be challenged 18 times to Sunday. But I really want him to keep doing that. Here's what I mean. You keep on making executive orders. Already, the one about birthright citizenship has been challenged or has been thrown out by some judge somewhere in some whacked out city and state. But that's going to go to the highest court. I think that you say birthright citizenship, I think you say transgender, this, that, and the other, because you want it to end up in the courts and you want the Supreme Court to make the decision on it. That's what I think he's doing. I want him to keep on doing it. And then he said this.
My message to every business in the world is very simple. Come make your product in America, and we will give you among the lowest taxes of any nation on earth. We're bringing them down very substantially, even from the original Trump tax cuts. But if you don't make your product in America, which is your prerogative, then very simply you will have to pay a tariff, differing amounts, but a tariff which will direct hundreds of billions of dollars and even trillions of dollars into our treasury to strengthen our economy and pay down debt. Under the Trump administration, there will be no better place on earth to create jobs, build factories, or grow a company than right here in the good old USA.
I mean, is that not what you want from your leader? If you're the leader of Sweden, I love Sweden. If you're the leader of Russia, I love Russia. If you're the leader of Italy, name the country USA, Iran. You have to be the person that is advocating for your country. For the past 4 years, we had people advocating for Davos. We had people advocating for a one world order. And by the way, I want to make mention of this. And I say this out of being humble. I really am. A guy wrote me a little while ago, can you please not speak as fast as you speak? I'm a little bit sick right now, so I'm not even speaking as fast as I normally would. And here's the problem. I'm 58 years old. This is how fast I speak. My brain works fast. My mouth works fast. Some people get it. They understand the pace and the tempo. Others, if you're new, it might take you a second to click into my tempo and my pace, but I cannot slow down how I speak. There's just no possible way. Maybe when I was 15, I could have worked on it, but at this age, it's not going to happen. So I love that you listen to the program. And let me say this. I'm so good. What, Sam? What?
Listen, you are very Italian, and I have been telling you,
Yes.
how old am I, for that long to slow down.
Let me just say this. I'm so good that if you only hear every third word, you're still going to be golden. Am I right?
True. That's very true. Yes.
So a lot of it's just filler. If you just hear the main words, you're going to be good, and you're going to love the show. By the way, I want to say hello to everybody in Melbourne, Florida. I just found out from our good friend Bill Mick that we're doing very, very well, like really high ratings. And I really appreciate you driving home with us every day live on WMMB. We really, listen, that means the world to me that people are tuning in and going, you know what? I like what you're laying down. So the one guy where I'm speaking too fast, stick with us. After a while, your ears will become numb and you'll hear the important parts. So I think that's true.
That is true. Yes, that's how I listen. Every third word.
So you've listened your whole life when you hear Dad. All right, let me go back to Davos. And again, I probably should have known that he was virtual when it said he appears via satellite. It actually says it on there.
Listen, it's okay. If you're just reading news articles, they don't always say it, which is really weird.
And they should. But imagine the news telling the truth. All right, here's the next one. So far, we've gotten two genders. So far, we've gotten, we're open for business. Now there's the
one thing we're going to be demanding is we're going to be demanding respect from other nations. Canada, we have a tremendous deficit with Canada. We're not going to have that anymore. We can't do it. I don't know if it's good for them. As you probably know, I say you can always become a state. And if you're a state, we won't have a deficit. We won't have to tariff you, et cetera, et cetera. But
he loves that. He is such a troll. He is such a troll. Throwing that out there again with Canada, you know that some doofus is going to respond now, either Trudeau or the guy Ford in Ontario. Somebody's going to respond to that. He loves needling them.
Canada has been very tough to deal with over the years, and it's not fair that we should have a $200 billion or $250 billion deficit. We don't need them to make our cars, and they make a lot of them. We don't need their lumber because we have our own forests, et cetera, et cetera. We don't need their oil and gas. We have more than anybody. So, just as an example, with Mexico, we're dealing with Mexico, I think, very well. And we're just, we just want to be treated fairly with other nations.
Why is that asking a lot? We want to be treated fairly with other nations. Why would we ever have a deficit with Canada? And I'm going to say it again because it's true. We protect Canada. Canada is safe and secure because we're here. If we weren't here, it would have been overrun by people a long time ago. We keep them safe and secure. We love our Canadian brothers and sisters. We love our neighbors to the north, and I think that he loves them as well. But at some point, the bad leadership of Canada has been taking advantage of us for so long that Trump says enough.
Because there's hardly a nation in the world, and I blame this on us, and I blame it on politicians that, for some reason, mostly it's stupidity, but you could also say other reasons, but mostly stupidity. They've allowed other nations to take advantage of the U.S., and we can't allow that to happen anymore. We have debt. It's a very small debt when you compare it to the value of the assets that we have, but we don't want to do that. We want to just have debt be obliterated, and we'll be able to do that fairly rapidly. And a lot of good things are going to happen.
I'd like to see that happen where the debt's going to go away rapidly. I would like to see that happen. By the way, that was from our friends over at Rebel News. Everything he's saying is just I love my country. Everything he's saying is our country is great. We should be treated like we're great. And we don't want people who say they're our friends taking advantage of us. I just don't know what the downside is of a leader who is duly elected and a landslide electorally and by popular vote. I don't know what the downside is for him coming out and saying, we love our country, we want to do well, and we're not going to let you take advantage of us anymore. I think that's a very, very smart and good thing. And then there's this.
I terminated the ridiculous and incredibly wasteful Green New Deal. I call it the Green New Scam. Withdrew from the one-sided Paris Climate Accord and ended the insane and costly electric vehicle mandate. We're going to let people buy the car they want to buy.
Can you imagine in a free and liberated society that people can buy the car that they want to buy? What? I mean, they were talking about electric cars by 2030, like banning internal combustion engines by 2030. And in places where they've got dumb leadership like California, they still might. But federally, they're not going to do that because it doesn't make any sense. Sam, you and I are car people, but we don't hate Teslas and electric cars. But I mean, we want to have an engine that we can hear run if we want to have an engine that we can hear run. What's the issue?
It's my choice, right?
Supposed to be. But at the end of the day, they try to tell us that you got to get rid of it. And, Joe Biden, the Biden administration, fill in the blank idiot from that administration, changing the fact that you could buy anything you wanted blew my mind because that's anti-freedom and liberty. It just is. I've got more sound bites from President Trump speaking to Davos. He just doesn't pull any punches, and I really appreciate him doing that when we come back. Your thoughts about that? Are you happy with a leader that goes right at him like this? Or would you wish that he would tamp it back a little bit? Where are you on him going at them? Just letting them have it to their face. Well, not to their face. It was by satellite, via satellite. But where are you on that? I could not be happier. I'm jubilant over the fact that my president wants to tell other countries, we're still who we always were. We just had really dumb people leading the place for a while. Well, now we're back. Deal with it. And you're going to start seeing countries get in line. You're going to see that. And I love that he doesn't pull any punches. We're out of the WHO. We're out of the Paris Climate Accord. We're stopping the Green New Scam. You can buy any car you want. Got a problem with it? Let us know. 833-JOE-PAGS. 833-JOE-PAGS or joepags.com. Want to hear from you. I appreciate you stopping by. Thanks a lot for being here. It is the Joe Pags Show. Lots of people want to be heard. We'll get to some phone calls coming up in a minute. Let me go back to the sound bites from President Trump in Davos, or to Davos. He was here, did it via satellite. Here's the last one, then we'll take some calls.
And by the way, speaking of you, and you've done a fantastic job, but I hope you start opening your bank to conservatives, because many conservatives complain that the banks are not allowing them to do business within the bank, and that included a place called Bank of America. They don't take conservative business. And I don't know if the regulators mandated that because of Biden or what, but you and Jamie and everybody, I hope you're going to open your banks to conservatives, because what you're doing is wrong.
I mean, He's right. He's right. He's absolutely right. And I get the same. Does the guy answer? Does the CEO of the bank answer? Is that what just happened there? Let me go back to it. Let me see. Because I know that the guy who runs Bank of America said something stupid and out of line, and it wasn't okay. Let me play that again because it seems like there was going to be something happening at the end there. Let's see.
And by the way, speaking of you, and you've done a fantastic job, but I hope you start opening your bank to conservatives because many conservatives complain that the banks are not allowing them to do business within the bank, and that included a place called Bank of America. They don't take conservative business. And I don't know if the regulators mandated that because of Biden or what, but you and Jamie and everybody, I hope you're going to open your banks to conservatives because what you're doing is wrong.
Mr. President, I'll say that your friend Gianni said hello, told me to tell you hello, and we look forward to sponsoring the World Cup when it comes both this summer for the club and next year. So thank you for getting that for the United States.
Yeah, he just got called out and smacked upside the head verbally and said nothing. We look forward to seeing you. Hello, we look forward to seeing you. Shut up. So dumb. Stefan, what's going on in Minnesota? Hi.
Joe, well, first off, you sound like crap, and that
Right.
kills me because aside from, your great info every day you bring every day and
Right.
the knowledge and everything that you bring to the show, your voice is awesome.
Thank you.
For a radio voice.
I'll get it back soon.
kills
Hopefully
me,
it'll come back full soon.
I wish you all the speed in that.
Thank you.
I'm not. I like to think that I pay attention and stay up on politics stuff, but I don't really know what Davos is other than I watched the show Game of Thrones, and it's like a bank town or something. Could you explain?
Well, Davos is a city in Switzerland, is it not?
Might not know.
I believe it's a city in Switzerland. Sam, it's in Switzerland, is it not? Davos?
Yes, it is.
So, I mean, it's just a city. Davos is where the World Economic Forum meets. I guess, listen, Stefan, that was a great question because I say Davos, assuming everybody knows. It's a great question. It's a city in Switzerland. That's where the World Economic Forum meets. The WEF, you'll hear that, World Economic Forum. And when they meet, they try to, in a global alliance, control how you and I live. They try to, in a global alliance, say how we have to use energy, or say how we have to watch our carbon footprint, or say how we have to get health care, or what we should eat. So when I say Davos, I'm referring to the gathering of the World Economic Forum. But you know what? Sometimes in this business, you start assuming people know, and they might not. So, Stefan, very, very good call. And the voice is coming back. It's about clearing out my nasal passageways, which isn't happening today for some reason. Let me go back at it. Let me say hello to Paul in Massachusetts quickly.
Hi, Joe. Just had a quick comment. I'm super happy that Donald's doing everything he said he would do. Only thing I haven't heard anything about is the drones. He had mentioned that he would let the country know what was going on with the drones. Wondering if you heard anything about that.
Great point. No, it's a great point. It's a great question. He did say that he would fill us in, and I guarantee he will fill us in. I got to be honest with you. The stuff that he's pulling off right now is so massive. I mean, think about it. JFK, RFK, and MLK. Think about it. Pardoning the J6 people. Think about it. Pardoning the abortion clinic people. I mean, pulling out of the stupid WHO, pulling out of the Green New scam. I mean, at the end of the day, I think he's getting a lot done. Now, do we all have our own pet projects? And especially Boston, because you guys probably in that area saw a bunch of drones as well. We love Massachusetts, by the way. You guys rock. You call in every day. We appreciate you. He will get to it. Somebody might have to remind him. Heck, if I get him on the show anytime soon, I'll ask him. I think it's a valid question. What the heck is going on with the drones? So, without a doubt, listen, he's letting us know about the highest profile assassinations in our history. He's definitely not going to hide what's going on with the drones. And I want an explanation. And so do you. And I think that we deserve it. Great question. We'll make sure that we bring it up to the administration. And we hope to get a bunch of people from the administration on soon. I think that would be great. It is 833-JOE-PAGS, 833-JOEPAGS. That is 563-7247 or joepags.com.